Hey guys, hope everything is going well. You guys know that drill. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment down below. Follow me on Instagram at AIH_sports. Follow me on my finance channel at AIH Finance. Okay, couple of things. Number one, I've been watching a bunch of videos, from all different content creators, people in the industry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And also notice the comment section, of mine. And I see a common complaint among many people right now, and it's about negativity of the hobby. I've discussed this before, but I think it's relevant to what's going on in the industry, what's going on in terms of prices, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So going back to 2021, I had a channel, right? Didn't have too many followers, maybe under 150, maybe under 200, whatever it was. I was getting maybe 100 views, and I always had a contrary viewpoint, right? That's just me. And I noticed a lot of channels that were so-called positive guys. They're always saying, oh, I think the market's going to go up, it's going to go up, it's going to go up, right? You really didn't have too much concern about future prices going down. People with a lot of views, subscribers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And during that time frame, I had multiple videos where I expressed skepticism of the rising prices. And I even brought on guests that expressed skepticism. And I also did videos on Top Shot and how it would probably go down from those levels, right? Within the 2 weeks of the top, I said avoid it like the plague. So I discussed that. I discussed we're in a sports card bubble, and I want to go buy cards that people weren't chasing after. That was my strategy. And fast forward to today, you have less content creation. You have more content that is, I would say, objective. Sometimes people call that negative, whatever that is. And people have complaints about that. Now, if you go back to 2021, did people have complaints about overly optimistic content, right? I don't think they were saying, hey man, I think you're way too positive. That's bad for the hobby. That's bad for the long-term health of the hobby. I didn't see that, right? So if you see people from the industry, I think it's Peter from SGC or Pete, he was saying, hey, every morning I wake up and I see negative content, okay? That's one thing. Then I see Card Ladder saying there's way too much pessimism, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then I see Dakota, and I'm not trying to denigrate him in any way, shape, or form, but from what I gather, he was trying to imply that there was a bit too much negativity in the hobby. And first of all, I'd like to say I'm glad to see him back. He was interacting with Steve and I in our live stream, so that's always a good thing, interaction, dialogue, et cetera, rather than being in your silo. I think that's part of the problem that we may have encountered like 6-7 months ago, or whenever that thing went down. And ultimately, what I'd like to say is that, hey, I want people to be themselves, right? When the industry people tell content creators they're being too negative, I turn it back around. What were you saying during the height of the bubble, 2021, February and March of 2021? Were you warning people that, hey, we're a bit way too optimistic? We better change our tune because a lot of people are going to get burned. And if they get burned, that's bad for the hobby. Did anyone from the industry state that? There may be some. So let me know down below. So all this finger pointing that is gone after content creators like myself, Sports Card Radio, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, you have to ask yourself, what were you telling people when they were way too optimistic in February and March of 2021? And I believe that people should be able to say whatever they want. And in addition to that, you need to also examine all types of viewpoints. We talked about this, Steve and I. What's all with all this talk? I mean, we were talking a bit before the show started, and it's to talk about negativity versus positivity. I know we touched base on it last time, but I think that we should base it on it again, because the guy from SGC, president, he said that every day I wake up, there's negativity in the hobby. And I don't like that. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, why does a CEO of a company care what a YouTuber says? That just makes no sense. I mean, Card Ladder talks a lot about, there's too much pessimism in the hobby. I know Dakota came out with the video saying that, he was basically saying that content creation should be a little different. We're acting like high schoolers. I don't know. I mean, just isn't it the marketplace?
I'm going to go full Dawn. I'm going to stop it. Roll stop. Yeah. So like, you flip that argument the other way around and say the fact that everything was all positive hype for 2 years or however so long since 2020, you could argue that there was negative or pushback. It wasn't promoted because the market didn't reflect that. Like, people were profiting and people were making their money at the time. And now that the market's flipped, it's like the narrative has to flip, because now you are going to see the people who are going to say, hey, these prices weren't, like, this wasn't sustainable. This is not a healthy market. The people who were making those points, who were totally like blackballed and silenced during that hype cycle, now you're actually hearing them. So I think you could push back and say, like, I don't think it's high school, drama. I think people were always had that perspective, but during, the peaks, who was going to listen to that?
Yeah. I had videos in February and March of 2021. One of them is the coming bubble with one of my friends, John. And he was talking about this whole thing's going to come down. I was talking about it as well. So it just seems bizarre that, people in the comment section have a problem, with content like mine or Sports Card Radio, when I was warning people about, what was to come. And Sports Card Radio, someone came on their program. Did you see that interview that they did the other day with the fan, or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. On their website.
Oh, so, not on their website. I saw.
No. Okay.
That guy was, he called in.
No, that's a different guy, and not the Will Willis. That he used to like annoy me on Twitter also, but that's a different guy. But there's this one dude, he said that you guys at Sports Card Radio are so negative, and then like Ryan went off, like he said that, hey, I used to create checklists that people still use to this day. Like, no one gives me props for being, helping out the community and hobby, and now people want to, come after us now just for producing content which may not sit well with others. I don't know. It just seems weird that people in the comment section get annoyed, or like influencers get annoyed at someone else's opinion. I mean, isn't the hobby supposed to, people of all different types,
if you think challenging ideas and pushback is negative content, then if you're going to call that high school, then you having an issue with that discussion being had makes you beta.
Damn.
I mean, it's beta. That's beta energy. If you don't want to hear anything that makes you feel uncomfortable, that's beta energy.
And it may ruffle some feathers, but ultimately, we live in a society where if you have the wrong opinion, you could be canceled or you may be ostracized. And I believe that that's what the industry is doing right now. That they're trying to ostracize viewpoints that are completely spot on, but they don't want to deal with it because they believe that it may hurt their bottom line. What hurt their bottom line, in my opinion, was not warning people about the bubble, just looking aside while they made profits left and right. Now things have dried down. Now they want to point fingers. Hey, negative content is bad for the hobby, right? Meanwhile, if they had listened and embraced contrary viewpoints, this wouldn't have happened to this extent, in my opinion. I think people would have been well prepared. Last thing I wanted to note is all of this negativity, in quotes, has brought down prices, right? Now, I get it, inflation is a bit high right now, so people are strapped when it comes to making big purchases on cards. I understand that. But ultimately, there's still some attractive cards that you could buy under 50 bucks, right? Graded cards shipped to your home, right? So I view this as a great time to add to your collection, right? Whatever financial condition you are in, right? Even if you're in a tough financial condition, probably you could spend a card $10, right? Shipped to your home. And if you are in a better financial position, you could buy cards worth thousands of dollars, right? So it is what it is, you know. You could take it the way that you want to, and if there's a lot of negative people, a lot of people aren't speculating to the long side. Could be an opportunity for some people. So it is what it is, or you could add to your collection. So I wanted to point that out. And yeah, anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye.